Mr. James Carter was a dedicated postman, known for his punctuality and his friendly demeanor. He often stopped to pet dogs, giving out treats he would carry along with him each day. He knew the names of at least 1/3 of the residents on his route and would often stop to take a few minutes to wish them a good day. It all began with a faint whisper that James heard while sorting mail late at night. "James, the letters are cursed," it said. He looked around, but the post office was empty. He tried to ignore it, but the voice persisted, growing louder each evening. James began to feel a cold presence in the post office, especially near the old undelivered mail near the back of the sorting room. The whispers continued, suggesting that the letters held dark secrets. "You cannot escape their stories," they taunted. James became obsessed with his work, spending hours sorting and delivering mail. After everyone else left, he started seeing ghostly figures in the post office right after sundown, their faces filled with accusation and anger. The whispers grew louder, haunting until he closed up and left for the night. Years ago, James had delivered a letter that had ultimately led to a family's tragedy. The memory of that incident had always haunted him, but now it seemed to blend with his current fears, making him question his role and his sanity. Was he guilty of something sinister? Could it have all been voided if he had never handled that letter? James struggled with guilt over this incident and often awoke in a cold sweat as a result of nightmares. Desperate, James confided in his fellow postmen and even talked to a local historian in the area. But no one believed that a letter would have anything to do with nightmares or even ghosts or voices in the mailroom. They suggested he was just stressed and needed a vacation. After all, working late into the night after everyone else had gone home for close to 15 years would have an effect on James's ability to get a good night's rest. It was reasonable to assume that he just needed a break. His family worried about his state of mind, urging him to take some time off. But James knew what he saw and heard. He would not give up and end up behind in his duties at work. He had to push through this. The whispers became more insistent. "You cannot escape your past," they said. James started seeing the ghostly figures more frequently and in full view after dark, their spectral forms following him around the post office. The cold presence became unbearable, chilling him to the bone. His eyes would dart all about during this late-night shift. He noticed that he was counting some mail pieces more than once and had to start all over again, only elongating his grueling work. His work began to suffer noticeably. He became paranoid and jumpy, seeing ghostly figures in the shadows night after night. He could no longer tell what was real and what was a figment of his imagination. He started doubting his own sanity, wondering if he was truly losing his grip. One night, as he was alone in the post office, the whispers became a roar. "James, you're destined to join us. You will be among us. Soon, soon," they taunted. He saw the ghost of the family he had indirectly harmed, their faces bearing the pain and fear of the tragedy. James screamed and tried to get away, but no one was around to hear him. James ran out of the post office, leaving the door unlocked, the lights on, and his keys still hanging in the door lock. He was desperate to escape the voice and the ghosts. He ran across a highway which was quite busy during the daylight hours, but luckily for James there were only a few cars passing when he rushed into the street. He burst through the doors of a lazy bar 2 blocks away from the post office, attempting to compose himself as he slowed his pace and tried to walk casually to the bar where he took a seat. James didn't normally drink, but tonight was going to be the exception, as his nerves were rattled and his mind was spinning out of control. How was he ever going to get through this? How long would this go on, and was he truly losing it? James was not sure of anything anymore. James had one last shot and made his way back to the post office that evening and quickly shoved the mail carts to the back, turned off the lights and shut the doors. This would be the first time he had ever left without completing his work, but he did not care. He had to find reprieve. And you, dear friend, have you ever heard whispers in the silence of a dark room? Have you ever felt a cold presence looming that chills you to the bone? We've all made mistakes, ones we will always regret. But sometimes it's difficult to get past the guilt, isn't it? You're not alone in your fears. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. Join us on TikTok and YouTube for more Chilling Chronicles, if you dare.